All right, so today we're going to do a little before and after fall cleanup video. So you can see we've got a considerable amount of leaves down there. And this is going to continue for a while. We've got a bunch down there, and then if we take a walk toward the back of the property here, so I should be better prepared. We've got quite a bit. To clean up here as well. And this is going to go on for the next couple of weeks. These trees are still dropping. So today we're going to talk about how we actually how we approach this, and I'm going to do it using my John Deere 318 garden tractor. So more to come. All right, so this is how we're going to go about this. This is my 1985 John Deere 318. It's got a Honda engine in it, but other than that, it's an original John Deere tractor. These things last forever. It's not a big box store tractor. This is a serious working machine. And if you don't know what a garden tractor is, I would suggest you research it, but considerably heavier, more powerful than a lawnmower that you might buy it at a big box store. So I've got it connected to my powerflow bagger, and I'm using the MegMo blades that I reviewed in an earlier video. It's many years later. They're still working fantastically. Finally, I'm going to be dragging around this TerraKing Leaf bag. Now, I've tried a million different combinations of cleanup over the 13 years I've been at this property. Every way, shape, and form you can imagine. This way actually works the best. So if you're interested in the TerraKing bag, I can tell you I've had this for about 4 years now, and I've used it for 4 seasons. And that's, 4 seasons of many weekends of just dragging it all around my property, picking up leaves. And after 4 years of using it, I can tell you it works fantastic. No holes, no rips. I keep it dry. I store it in the off season, and no issues whatsoever. So I'm going to get going here. You can see I've got quite a bit to do. I'm going to keep track of how long it actually takes me to do this today. One thing I want to note, my grass is short. You want to, I do this every weekend until the trees stop dropping. That way you're not doing it all in one shot. And when your grass is long, with the giant bag on the back, you pick up a lot of grass at the same time. You'll also note I have an onboard fire extinguisher. And it just makes a lot of sense. You're going to have leaves blowing around. You've got a hot exhaust system. Ask me how I know if it can catch on fire, because yes, it can. So be safe. All right, I'm gonna get going here. We'll see how this stuff works out. All right, so here are the results after about 15 minutes of what is effectively just lawn mowing. So you can see significant difference there in the front. And that's really all I did so far. Actually, if we go around, I did a part of the back as well. Let's take a look at that. Now, you'll notice leaves are continuing to drop as I'm doing this. But that big pile that we had underneath this tree, all gone, basically all cleaned up after 15 minutes. So next I am going to do this area over here. These 2 trees are going to continue to drop for the next couple of weeks. I did this last weekend. This is the accumulation of about a week. Quite a bit. Also note it's been raining for the last 3 days here, so these are damp, a little harder to pick up actually, and makes the bag heavier when I go to empty it. One other thing I want to note, so like around the bases of the trees, I take a leaf blower and blow the leaves out so that I can actually get them, and then we'll talk about how we do the final cleanup after we get this piece done. All right, apologies for the crazy lighting, but it's a beautiful day. Getting a lot of shadows now. So here we are about half an hour worth of seat time later. You can see what this thing looks like after mowing up a bunch. And when the leaves are dry, I would fill the bag further than that, but with these wet ones, they get heavy and it's challenging to empty. So after 30 minutes, and that includes emptying the bag, you can see here, the vast majority of those leaves are gone. Does a really good job. Now, I don't try to get it perfect at this time of year because, as you can see, that would be a waste of time. But for a total outlay so far today of about an hour, I have, effectively reset the yard here, and I'm ready for next weekend when this will continue. All right, let's go empty this bag. So I'm filming with my phone today, so this is going to be a little challenging to actually demonstrate, but you can see here, giant pile of leaves down on the corner of my property. And take a look at this. Chopped up pretty good. And this is a result of just going over them once with those MegMo blades. They actually work very well. So emptying this is simply a matter of undoing the tie here that seals it up to the back, and then dragging it over and dumping it in the pile there. Now, there's no way I'm going to be able to actually film myself doing this, but this one release will open it up enough so that I can take it off of the grass catcher and just dump it out. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, so 2 seconds later, bag empty, giant pile of leaves. There's one more thing that I want to show you guys, which is, so I'm down on the lower half of the property now, and whatever tree this is just about done for the year. But its leaves are really big. I mean, here you go for scale. So this is a lot to try to just mow up in one shot. I think I could do it. I don't think I would have any problems, but I take a different approach to this. So I'm going to show you basically what I'm going to do is mow this once and then pick it up on the second pass. And instead of having to take the whole tractor apart to just mow over it, I have a little adapter that I use. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. Hey, Dolly. So to switch over to actually mow up that stuff down there, I just didn't put the bag back on. I'm not going to take off the powerflow, but I'm going to take off this chute, and I am going to put on a smaller one that I'll show you in a second. You can see when I got my powerflow set up, I got it in pieces, and the chute that I got wasn't long enough to actually make it back to the pickup, so I just picked I stole a piece of my wife's kind of plastic cutting board and made my own little extension there. It's worked great. So 2 minutes to take this thing off and swap on the other thing. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to put in my little disclaimer of, don't do this yourself, or be very careful. So this is another little chute adapter that I made that basically allows me to continue to use the powerflow, but basically pick everything up and shoot it off to my right as I'm mowing. I made this out of that same plastic cutting board. All kidding aside, you don't want to use this with anybody around, with any pets around. It'll pick up those leaves and throw them. Well, it actually throws the mulched leaves up in a cloud as you're mowing along. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to mow over this a couple of times and just mulch these things up really good. Then we'll decide if we have to pick them up. And really, what good is a video without a little seat time? So I'm going to try to carefully demonstrate how this thing works as I take a pass or two through here. Dolly wants to play. All right, let's fire up the Honda here and get going. So take a look at that. That's two passes very slowly because I'm trying to film and mow at the same time through there. And hopefully that video shows just how much these MegMo blades actually mulch this stuff up on the first pass. So I'm guessing, I'm gonna take a few passes over this. I'm guessing I'm not gonna have to bag anything. A little bit, less concerned with this down here. And this is a damp part of the yard anyway. Grass grows really well. And mulching up, this amount of leaves and leaving them in the grass actually works out better and is beneficial. So let me take a look. Let me do that a couple times and then we'll take a look when I'm done. And so here we are, literally less than 5 minutes later. And all I did was drive back and forth through here a couple of times with that setup that I just showed you. And those giant hand-sized leaves, and you can see there's still a couple of them laying around here, right? So basically we had hundreds of these laying here. And as a result of going through there, basically, you end up with this. And these are the bigger pieces. You can see as I was going along, you basically end up with a cloud of leaves behind you. In fact, if I turn around, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm basically covered in a little bit of the falling leaf debris. So like I said, if you want to use this kind of an attachment, you got to be very careful. My dog is out here fooling around, and I made sure that I'm always blowing in the opposite direction. So that's about it. End result here, I would say, first of all, that leaf bag is a wonderful addition and makes cleanup really easy. The powerflow bagger makes this again much easier to do. I picked up all those leaves today, had no clogs whatsoever. And just be safe, right? Wet leaves, easier to deal with, but I keep a fire extinguisher in my drink holder. So that's it for today, guys. Hope this is useful